Hi, folks. So I'm on a little earlier than I scheduled, but we are here. Now I mentioned to you all that I'm working on a machine learning course. I think I mentioned that in my last video. So I wanted to give a few, let's just throw some ideas out there to you folks who may be studying for some machine learning courses or something, or you're actually creating something that has machine learning in it, okay? Now, for a lot of the CompTIA stuff, so what I'm creating, and well, my team, okay, a lot of us are not a lot of us, but hey, NC worker, it's great to see you. We're creating stuff for CompTIA and all that, and I talked about that in previous videos. Well, it's for middle and high school people, all right, and some of them aren't necessarily going for certification, right? It's just so they can you have this information to use whatever way they want to use it, whether it's for certification or not, okay? So, but the idea here is to make the content reachable, okay? That's the word we're using, reachable. Now, reachable doesn't mean dumbing it down, okay? It means when you learn a concept, especially a new concept, you learn it in a way where later it's easy to go back and retrieve it, okay? Uh, so we've had to massage, like really must like get down there in the deep muscles, okay, of a lot of this content to make it reachable for people, not even just high school or middle, right? Anybody who's trying to get into the field through machine learning or networking or whatever, okay, so that they can grasp it. So I just want to give some pointers on ways to make it easy to learn. If it's easy to learn, it's even easier to teach, okay? Because once you can get a learner to a certain point, you really can just sit back and relax, okay? You can go ahead and book your trip to Bora Bora, okay? Because they got it from there. If we can get them there, if we can create the conditions, so that they can get there, and many times they can't, okay, because the environment isn't such that they can get there. But and I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. All right. Uh so again, we're talking about machine learning, and machine learning, it's like Pandora. If you have Pandora or some other music thing that you turn it on and it just knows, okay, you turning this on, this is the kind of music you like because you've been listening to this a whole bunch, this kind of stuff. I have Pandora, but I don't listen to it. I listen to Amazon Music, and Amazon Music does that too. So Amazon knows the kind of music I listen to. All right. So Amazon Music, the machine learning will actually create a playlist for me. Okay. And say, all right, this playlist is done. It looks like you might want to listen to these right here. And the playlist is good. Because it's basing it off of my preferences, and even other people's who have preferences like me. So I kind of see machine learning as, if you have a really really smart pet, okay, when you tell a pet, hey, go get my slippers, you know what I'm saying, like a really smart pet, uh when the lights, right, if it's dark or something, so the lights will turn on, so you say something and it'll just do what it does. Now, uh is a deep learning is more like this, okay? It's more like our the human brain, okay? So with deep learning, you're much more sophisticated, okay? And deep learning has got to be right, okay? Which is why it's so important to take as much. You're never going to be able to get all of it because humans are making it, but as much bias out of deep learning as possible, okay? Because once do what you do with deep learning go ahead and it does, what it does. It gets more information, and it's more able to draw conclusions the way that humans do, okay? Deep learning is what's going to be driving our self-driving cars, okay? I went to me and my babies my daughter and my sons, we went to, there's a farm out here called Cox Farm, C-O-X, Cox Farms. So we went there this past autumn, because, you know, they do the pumpkins and the hayride and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. So they have a trail, okay? Now, my daughter works for the state of Virginia, the Parks and Recreation, you know, and they go out into the forest with the kids and all that. So we were trying to figure out what kind of plant was on this thing in the trail, you know, where we were walking. So she took out an app. She has an app where you can, you know, take a picture of whatever you're looking at, and it'll tell you what kind of plant that is. Okay. A lot of that is deep learning too, that image recognition, which is a lot, I think is in England, where they have that facial recognition stuff going on over there. And people are like really up in arms because it's very, very biased. I mean, like really, okay. Somebody need to go back to the drawing board with that. All right. But yeah, so deep learning. This when you get more into AI and you know and all that stuff. Now, the easiest way to learn, that's what I put on the thumbnail. The easiest way to learn is through direct learning. All right. Now, you hear direct learning a lot when you're learning a new language. All right. Direct learning is like you're learning, but you don't even know it. Like you don't even realize it. You don't realize you're actually learning something. Okay. That's the easiest way. And it's like the way you learn, if English is your native language, it's the way you learn to speak English. Okay. You didn't learn to speak English with grammar rules. Okay. That's not what we do. Okay. You don't start with grammar. Okay. When you learn how to speak English, you're just immersed in it. You hear it spoken to you. If your mom and dad or somebody got the TV on, likely the people on TV are speaking English. Anytime you see a written something, you driving in the car, you look at a billboard, there's English on it. When you have to respond, you got to respond in English because that's what I understand, you know what I'm saying? So that's direct learning. You're just in there. Okay, you're in there. Everything is that thing. So you're just picking up, you don't even know you're learning, but you are. Okay. Now, when you can't have direct learning, and even if you're learning a new language, it's faster, isn't it? If somebody just dumps you in Russia, okay, all you know is English today, but you get dropped off in Russia tomorrow. You ain't got no translators. Okay, you're gonna learn real fast. Okay, how to speak some Russian, you understand? And you're not gonna start with rules. Okay, you're not gonna start with the grammar rules of Russian. No. So that's direct learning. Okay, now when that's not possible or you can't do that for whatever reason, whatever the topic is, whatever. The next best thing is what I'm talking about here, is making things reachable. Okay, and all that means is if you're learning a new concept, then attach that new concept to something you already know. Okay, don't feel like you got to just erase everything that's there and start over again. Okay, which is a lot of times how we treat cyber when we're learning cyber and IT. My stomach hurts with a lot of the training that I see around here for stuff, because I'm like, why are you making that so complicated? It really ain't got to be all that, okay? But I know why, and I'm gonna tell you why later. But let's get into this, okay? So we're modifying the current AWS machine learning stuff. I mean, the content is good. I'm not crapping on the content. It's good, but it's not reachable. Okay, not for my audience. It isn't. Okay. Now, let me tell you some of what I'm doing. I'm just gonna give you a couple examples of it, okay? Because y'all can go do what you do. So some of the things that I've also put like into the CompTIA stuff is for definitions. How do we learn definitions? We look at the word and we read the definition. Okay, or we look at a picture or something like that, right? So something that I've done in the CompTIA stuff is we're not going to read a definition. What we're going to do is we're going to type that word into Twitter, whatever it is. The acronym, type the acronym in Twitter. I guarantee you somebody in all of Twitterverse is talking about that thing. Okay, now that's how we're going to discover, well, what in the world does that mean? Okay, and what is it? Okay, so that's because with learning, we don't want to put too many constraints in the environment. We do not want to take people out of the world and put them into a classroom so they can learn. No, the world is the classroom. It's already there. Okay. We just want to add a couple of constraints, okay, to help them go in a certain direction. All right. You don't want to totally just take them completely out. No phones in here. We ain't going on Facebook. We ain't talking about no movies. We ain't doing none of that. All you're going to do is sit up here and watch me talk and show you some slides. Okay. That's nuts. Okay. That's completely nuts. All right. So, reachable means you can access it anytime you want to access it until it doesn't have to be reachable anymore. If I ask you your name, it's right there. You ain't got to go searching in your memory for what's my name. Not unless you got some memory problems or something. Okay. But many of us, if somebody asks you your name, it's right there. That's what I'm talking about here. I want it to be reachable until it doesn't have to be reachable anymore. Okay. But at least you can retrieve it when you hear it again, because it's connected to something that they already know. Okay. And again, we're talking about high school students. All right. Now, the first concept, or one of the concepts in machine learning, of course, is random forests. Okay. Now, random forests they're also called random decision forests. I'm going to tell you what was in the book. An ensemble learning method that classification, regression, and other tasks that operate by constructing a multitude of decision trees in a training time. For somebody who doesn't that sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, okay? So let me show you what it looks like, just in case you don't know. Where's that thing? Not that one. Is it this one? Okay. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh, here you go. So this is a decision tree. Now we use decision trees all over the place, not just in machine learning, but it's like this right here. And it's very simple, okay? The single, you see the yellow is the single. And a random forest is you got a whole bunch of decision trees. It's just like if the single is you having to make a decision, and a random forest is not just you. It's a bunch of other folks helping you make that decision, okay? Think about when you go on Amazon and you want to buy something. What do you look at before you buy it? Many of us, what do we look at? We look at the damn comments. We want to see what did other people have to say about this thing before I make my decision. Let me see, what the people who gave it 5 stars and 1. Let me see what they said, okay? Think about Linux. One person didn't make Linux. Okay, if they did, it'll be what? Micro Linux or Linux Soft or something like that. You know what I mean? No, a whole bunch of folks came together and still come together to this day to do things in Linux. You know what I'm saying? That's your random forest right there. Okay. So we definitely want to get them to where the next time they hear random forest, because we're going to move on after this, oh, okay, that's when I'm not making a decision by myself. Now, and machine learning is beautiful for this, okay, because all of the concepts are about what we do right now, okay, what we do right now today. And you can also use this, I'm going to use it for something else too, but so that's one of them, okay. What's the other one? Oh, this is a good one. Gradient boosting. Have you all heard of gradient boosting for machine learning? Let me show you a picture of this one. Okay, it's kind of blurry, but it says data set, then you train, then you have a model, you test. Okay, find some errors, train again, another model, you test. Find some errors, you train again, another model. What does that look? Doesn't that look like stuff that we do or should do? or should do, right? This is basically saying ain't nobody perfect. Okay, you make mistakes. people make developmental errors, is what I call. So you make your error, you make your mistake, you fail. You see what it was, you fix it, you do it again. Okay. As you grow, that just happens, in life, or at least it should happen. So let me tell you, but the thing, this is more for my other channel, but I'm gonna say it over here too. Now, so, and there's more, I have more here, where I just show, all I'm doing here is showing how these machine learning concepts are not anything brand new. Okay, somebody didn't just dream this up, 10 years ago, and now folks don't know what the hell is going on. No, all of this is familiar. Every concept in machine learning is something that you already know. And that's what I'm trying to get across with this AWS thing. Because if you look at that, if you look, not just AWS, find another one somewhere, okay? If you look and read that stuff, you're gonna be like, I have no idea. Like, this is so difficult. I don't know no. That's not it at all, okay? Y'all know. And I tried to tell somebody that same thing with a networking course I was working on. I'm like, why this shit so complicated? It's like if a doctor can say, you broke your toe using a whole bunch of medical words, like how you say broken medical terms or something, your metatarsal number 2 or whatever. What all that means is you got a broken toe. Do you know what I mean? We need to just start speaking more like people speak. That would make training so much easier, don't you think? I mean, I know that there's language that needs to be learned, that there's syntax and all that, every profession has its own language, all right? Which is fine, that language ain't gotta go nowhere, but to at least help somebody get there. Start with what they know first, okay? And then go there before you start talking about IPs and, and bits and all that stuff, talk about google.com. Like, oh, I know that. I know google.com. Well, another way to say google.com is 198.2.3, whatever the hell their IP address is. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? Instead of just starting off with something that somebody feels like, okay, now I got to learn this brand new spanking thing I've never seen before in my life, when it's totally not true. Okay. All right. So what else I have here? I have here kernel methods. These are other machine learning terms. Kernel methods. What else? Bayes theorem. Gradient descent. Gradient descent was a really interesting one too, because I struggled a little bit with that one too. I'm like, okay, gradient descent, but that's just like, so let me say the ascent before the descent, okay, because it's a little easier to get. Let's say gradient descent. That's like, let's say you're climbing a mountain, okay, and you're blindfolded. You're climbing a mountain blindfolded. All right. Hey, Quad Life, JP the Nobleman. So you're climbing a mountain blindfolded. Again, we're talking about what is it? Gradient descent. So you start climbing, okay, and your steps are pretty, normal or big or whatever. But when you start to get to the top, what do? You're blindfolded now. Your steps become a little bit smaller, right? So you don't overstep the peak. Okay, you're a little bit more careful. Okay, so if you look at that, you'll see how you're at the bottom. Your steps were like this, and then as you got further to the top, they got more, So just think of the same thing, but going downhill for gradient descent. Okay. And what's the other one I got over here? Ooh, K-means. K-means is really easy. That's very, very easy. Very easy to get. Yeah. But do you see so y'all know I love analogies over here. I love them. I'm using the word love. And maybe that's just because that's the way I get things, you know, and everybody isn't good with analogies. Some people just need you, just tell me what the damn thing is. Okay. Just give me the definition. Okay. And I'm good. And that's great. Okay. But again, for where we are and our audience and all that, I'm using the little K means here. Okay. And I'm tailoring what I'm saying to that particular cluster. You know what I mean? So I would talk about this in a certain way to high school students versus, you know, the elderly individuals that we have in this other program, you know, having them learn how to use their mobile phones and stuff like that. So it really just depends on who your audience is. But what I know is that the same thing for everybody, the spray and pray is what they call it. You know, if you really want some results, that's not going to do. That's not going to do a whole bunch. All right, so that's all I have. I was going to go into some more stuff, but I'll do that on a different channel. But thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. Again, the easiest way is direct learning, which is you don't even know you're learning. Okay, just throw them in there. You know, it's more than immersive. Okay, like direct learning is more than immersive, right? It's just it's a whole nother animal. All right, but if you can't do direct for whatever reason, then make your content reachable. Okay, reachable. All right, because we know that telling ain't training. Right? Did y'all hear? Now, I'll put this on my other thing, but I know y'all have heard Jim Jones recently. If you type Jim Jones in YouTube, how he just said who he learned how to French kiss from. His mama, he said his mama taught him how to tongue kiss. Okay. Now, I heard Mama Jones, what Mama Jones said. It sounds like that's what it sounds like to me. Okay. It sounds like immersive learning. That's what it sounds like to me. But hey, if you're gonna learn how to do it, you just gotta damn do it. You know, if you didn't learn how to drive a car by somebody standing on a sidewalk telling you, all right, now put your right foot down, turn the wheel to the left. No, you had to get your hind part in a car and drive, right? That's how you did it. Exactly. For in situations where that either is not possible or not as possible as you would like it to be, the next best thing is to make it reachable. Okay. Which takes a little work. It takes a little more work than just finding the definition for something. All right. You have to find out where a person already has experience with this thing. And cybersecurity and IT, easy. It's easy. Easy. Okay. You talk about network traffic. Where are people familiar with traffic? Huh? Folks, the roads outside, the drug. You can map everything you're talking about in networking. You can map it to what happens in transportation. See, that's the stuff I'm talking about, and you don't see that kind of stuff in courses like that. They go right to the neck. You hemmed up from the jump. Okay, with all them terms and stuff, you have no idea. You have no idea that you already know what this is. Okay, because it's not being presented to you like that. Quad life, would you say? It's just being consistent and disciplined. Kill me trying to learn. I'm learning through this book Python crash course, but I'm getting there. That's another thing too, right? With Python, and I found, what did I find? I found something really, really great, because I was looking at Python too, but it got away from me. But I found something really nice. She made it's a Jupyter notebook. She put the stuff in Jupyter notebook because she's a professor, and she was looking to teach Python to her biology. I think it was biology students. Okay, it was something that they didn't have nothing to do with IT. Nothing. And she said the same. She was like, these Python courses, my people, they struggle. Like, it's too much. It's too, like, we're not IT folks, okay? We're in biology or geology, something like that, you know, that she was. And her course, I'm telling you, It's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna find that, and I know it's in Jupiter book. That's what I do remember. Okay, but it's really great. And so what she did was she made it reachable for her people. Okay, for her people, she made it reachable, which is awesome. You know, it's absolutely awesome. And that's something that I found too. Much of the things that we do and we look at and try to learn, a lot of that is made for developers. Okay, it's talking to developers. They ain't talking to you. Okay, it's not talking to you, cyber professional. All right, so you're gonna have to struggle. It was like I went to this course on enterprise risk management years ago. Okay, now I ain't got all the people in the class were from the finance office, all of them. They were all auditors. They were all talking about the the financial thing that agencies have to send to Congress every year. All of them. I'm in training and development. I write training and development policy. And they were like, girl, like, what are you doing in here? So of course the instructor wasn't in the financial office too. He was an auditor. So everything he was talking about regarding enterprise risk management was about finances. I'm in there to figure out, well, what does enterprise risk have to do with knowledge failure? Okay, because I'm looking at knowledge failure and knowledge risk assessment. Okay, and how we can do that. And knowledge failure is just when you don't have the enough information to make a good decision. Okay, that's knowledge failure. I worked my butt off in that class. I'm telling you, I had to, because he wasn't talking to me. Okay, he was talking to the auditors in the room. That's who that course was for. Yeah, if we can help, you know, we don't want the learners in front of us to have to be breaking a sweat trying to figure out what the hell you're talking about. Okay, like we really don't want that to happen. Okay, we don't want that. All right. So you know, and making it reachable is just you ain't got to. Now the audit people in there probably didn't have. I'm sure they didn't have as hard a time as I did. Okay, but that's the thing, right? You want to make sure you're talking to your audience. You're talking to them, you know, and not to somebody else. So all right. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for coming through. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you very much. So I hope this was useful for my learning designers out there, people, or even if you're a student for something, okay? You can make your own content reachable, okay? If the instructor ain't doing it, you do it, okay? You find out, well, where do I know about this thing already? You know, do some really good Googling, right? And there's an art to Googling, okay? All right. All right, y'all. I see y'all back here in a little bit. Have a good evening.